Because you don't wake up every day going, I want to buy a green house, I want to buy a green building, but you do say, I want to protect my occupants, I want to save energy, I want to save water, I want to save carbon. So we try to make that easier for you.
The vast majority of people constructing new buildings, whether it be a home or a skyscraper, want it to be green. It's not just good for the planet, it's good for the pocketbook. But Paul Shahriari discovered this aspiration was heavily impeded by a fractured marketplace for eco-friendly systems. So he started Ecomedes, a sustainable product catalog for building developers. In this episode of UpTech Report, Paul talks about his business model that serves as an automated middleman, refining research on hundreds of thousands of products and connecting buyers with sellers, which he hopes will make green construction as easy as buying groceries. Paul, I'm excited to be with you, hear your insight in this journey that you've been on with your company, Ecomedes. And to start us off, I'm going to ask you, if you had to describe your company in 5 seconds, just 5 seconds, what would you say?
We are like the Whole Foods for green building products.
Ooh, I like that. Whole Foods of green building products. This started early on as an initial concept about 7 years ago. How did that journey start, and then to get to where you are today?
Sure. The whole journey started as a consultant. I was always out looking for information and data to present to my owners and my project teams to justify the sustainability. And that problem just became a data scavenger hunt. So early on, it was just finding the data, building it for myself, building in a spreadsheet, building in this home office I sit in now. And the whole idea evolved that if it wasn't helping me or my project teams, it really needed to get out there, and it kind of lends itself to technology. How can I share what I've learned? How can I share this with more people than just myself? Because everyone's probably repetitively doing this step over and over again. And I thought, what a great idea. And that's the idea of Ecomedes, Archimedes, leverage the data to make a better decision.
So with Ecomedes starting off of consulting, you saw this data problem and being able to aggregate it. And what year did then it try to transition to more of the technology company as an offering of the data?
Sure. The big year for us was 2018. That's kind of when we really got enough of the data, got together both the buyer side of the marketplace, the supplier side of the marketplace, rating systems and eco labels started evolving. So there's a lot of data players that kind of play this game of ping pong. It's not like I just need to find one thing on the web and I want to just use customer service, reviews. It's more in depth. It's what does it use for energy? What does it use for water? Does it have environmental transparency documentation? So it's a multi-noded problem, and our industry delivers buildings in a very different way than we normally buy other products, where there's single manufacturer, single supply chain, and a single use. A building is like a salad bar item. It's 2,000 products could be making up a single building. So understanding all those pieces, and like what you get from a toilet manufacturer is different what you want from a lighting manufacturer is different what you want from a flooring manufacturer. But ultimately, you want a sustainable building, and that's kind of the crux of the problem. It starts with consulting, but eventually, if we could kind of do that all once and then share that data with everyone, that's the promise, I think, of scalable technology.
I like the concept of the salad bar. There's so many options of this or that when it comes to the green building. So really what you've done is aggregated all the data, allowing builders to say, okay, what exactly would be the best option here for this instance? Did I get that correctly? The problem?
Yeah, I mean, think about it like a dietary driver. You have owners that say, I care about ROI for my building because I want to increase asset value. So that drives to energy and water saving devices. If they care about human health and wellness, which is obviously the number one concern right now, it's like, how do we make sure we have the right products that go in the building to make them better? But also now it's like, how good is my HVAC system cleaning the air? Is it taking an UV zapping it to kill the coronavirus in the recirculation system? Does every apartment in a multi-stacked building all use the same return airflow and the same supply? That's probably not going to fly very well. So there's going to be a lot of changes, but I think the idea is a very long salad bar, and depending on what you start out the salad bar going for, like, I want an all vegan diet, I want a vegetarian diet, I'm a pescatarian, I only eat things that are 500 miles away. Like, there's a lot of different ways, but imagine, like the Whole Food salad bar, like, it's different than other salad bars. It's probably different than Shoney's salad bar. So you got to kind of figure out how to do that constantly. But since it's so long, we want to be able to help people find those things that drive to the mission that they want, because you don't wake up every day going, I want to buy a green house, I want to buy a green building, but you do say, I want to protect my occupants, I want to save energy, I want to save water, I want to save carbon. So we try to make that easier for you with kind of like a click diet, or like, we'll just send you your freshly prepared meals. I love those new HelloFresh and all those things that, like, you're probably not a good cook. You probably don't want to go through every aisle in the grocery store. What if we sent you a box? We're trying to do, at least from a digital perspective, we're not going to send you the stuff, but here's all the stuff that is green. Choose the best stuff based on your own parameters.
Got it. So really then connecting those builders with the data, with the end products, the suppliers, as you said. What's your business model then? How does that work for you?
So our main databases, we gathered it together. We then said, well, how can we obviously make money with this? This is, it's good for the world. And our goal is to make sure every decision is made as sustainably as possible. Because as a consultant, I traveled about 1.5 million miles away from home to do that work. So selfishly, I built this so that I could actually do more good, but not have to be there holding everyone's hand for 8 hours and fly 4 hours on either side of that trip. So the idea is that we model the platform as a service, software as a service, and people can license the entire technology and white label it to their own needs, because every owner I've ever worked for looks for something different out of green. So the federal government's a user, they have green building guidelines, and they only see products that meet their guidelines. So we pre-curate the Whole Foods experience. So imagine walking in, and Whole Foods is a green store, but imagine if you walked in and said, I am, a vegan, and I only want things that were manufactured locally, and I only want things that are non-GMO free. That store, even as a green shopper, you'd still have to know where all that stuff is. Imagine if you walk in and that was just one long shelf and it was only the things you wanted. That's what technology affords us without having to be a brick and mortar version. So that's kind of where our main focus is customizing it and then licensing what probably would take a normal team 3 to 4 years at least to build on their own. They can just flip a switch, tell us what their configuration options are, what their, I call it like an eHarmony, almost like, what are you looking for out of your potential soulmate for a plumbing fixture or lighting fixture? We can curate that for you. And then you see only the ones that meet those performance standards. You're still going to do the, what does it cost? Where can I get it? Does my vendor sell it to me? But at least the performance metrics, the biggest parts of that eHarmony blend in very well.
eHarmony for builders to connect to suppliers. Again, you're just spewing out analogies.
Whole Foods,
I love it. And Whole Foods too. So how much of this process is automated versus still then a service where you have the data, then you manually help each client?
We constantly are getting better at the configuration. So we don't do any more consulting per se. What we do is we say, here's all the data on all the things that are defined at the highest level of green. So kind of imagine that being the Amazon. Then they define what they care about at the Whole Foods level, which is what are parameters that you care about: energy, water, human health, planet health, CO2. And then that is now a much smaller database. So we go from like 750,000 products right now that we have in our main system. We configure it down to maybe the 150,000 that are compliant with a rating system you care about, or the 220,000 that configure to the federal guidelines. And then for manufacturers, we also charge, and we give them the entire powerful database, but then we help them take their catalog and only their products on a branded white labeled version. And now they can say, these are all the things from Herman Miller. These are all the things from Toto. These are all the things from Interface that meet the guidelines, so they can sell more effectively. Buyers can buy more effectively. And in the middle, you have all these other influencers that need the data anyway. So that's the whole point.
So being able to, the buyers, the builders, they pay for access to be able to customize and choose their options, and then suppliers are paying to be able to customize and import all their options.
The main platform is free. We only charge if somebody needs our main platform configured to their specific buying needs or the selling needs. We don't want to have to charge everyone. We think that the people that want a white labeled version for their own buying needs and project management needs or their selling needs, they obviously are getting a lot of network effects. I think we had about 50,000 users just last quarter. And, wow, about 500,000 actions were automated that would have been had done by hand or by clicking, or a scavenger hunt on Google. So all that automation came to about $800,000 worth of save. About $800,000 for some of our clients in just 1 quarter of optimized efficiency. And that's really amazing to us, is we want to make it easier to be greener, but also save you money doing it. And if you do the right thing and you buy the right products and you put them in your building, what's nice is there's a long tail that we haven't even begun to really capture the true value of yet. We know it anecdotally, but we're now working to kind of define what that is, because that's 10, 20 years of less energy, less water, less maintenance, healthier buildings. And that's going to be in the billions of dollars of impact.
Going, as you already shared some of the data, 750,000 different products, if I got that correct, that are accessible. And already last month, how many active users you said?
50,000 users in just the last quarter.
Wow.
around 18,000 or so a month. But
Gotcha.
what's nice is it's growing, and those users are either buying things and finding things to buy, or they're more actively selling. I think this entire world is going to go to a digital workflow,
Oh
and
yeah.
real estate's not going to slow down. We're all sitting in buildings now. We're in both, in our house a lot more than we probably normally are. Commercial buildings, as they reopen, they're going to have to become a little different. Like, we're starting to see the like sneeze guards up at Costco, and I think there's going to be a reshuffling of like what the new normal is. And real estate's going to be where we spend that time. 98% of our time is spent indoors. So there's going to be a huge shift to what are we going to do and how are we going to make those buildings healthier. And then green building and resilience has been talking about this for a long time, but maybe now is going to be the time when we really start focusing on what do we do. And that's going to take products. It's going to take solutions. It's going to take systems. And we're so happy to see the digital workflow already being enabled by our platform. Even though there's a lot less project work, the users actually have stayed very steady. There may be a 500 user reference point difference between January and March. So there's not a lot of cratering, because people are now having to do all this work, but just digitally via Zoom and Google and other things.
Definitely a growth in this direction as with the current world situation. People want to be able to just look online, connect, and find solutions to problems. And this is can only amplify that instead of having to go out and talk to other people and build connections. This direction then for the future of your company, where do you see it 5 years from now?
Yeah, I think this idea of resilience in general, sustainability in general, balancing economics, people, and planet, that's been at the cornerstone of what I've focused on for 20 years. It's ebbed and flowed. When I graduated, there's a little bit of a dip in the recession. So then the 2000s, it was a little slow. Then we had the debacle of the real estate world in 2008. So I think, I've gotten used to, I think Gen X has just gotten kind of used to those kind of like ebbs and flows. And what's interesting is that, real estate's the largest asset class in the world. We're spending time in it. We're most of us don't live outside. So we are constantly in buildings. And I think if we're spending that much time in them, I think we're going to rethink how resilient they are, whether it's the elevation that they're at for climate change or how good the air systems are. Other parts of the world have had to deal with bad outside air. So they've created unbelievable methodologies to clean outside air. In America, we usually want fresh air in buildings, but how you bring that in is also kind of important from an energy standpoint. So I think sustainability provides us an amazing framework to help people figure out what things go into buildings. Are they sustainable from both the economic perspective, but human health and planet health? Normally the economics was at the top, and then, planet health was the next one. And then the social aspects of sustainability were kind of like that third leg of the stool that didn't get a lot of attention. I think that might become the North Star for the next, 18 to 24 months, and say, are these places really healthy? Can we work in them? Can we live in them? And, ERs are very healthy. They have air scrubbers and all that stuff, but I think we're going to start seeing some more of that technology. I think healthcare is going to go through an amazing, probably like a Marshall Plan rebuilding. Not that they're destroyed, but I think they're going to have to rethink, how do you deal with another version of this COVID-19? If there's a COVID 2021 or whatever that is, there's going to be something that we're going to have to face. And I think resilience is part of sustainability. And that's going to become, I think, a major focus of people, is just how resilient are we as companies? How can we pivot? For startups, it's easy. That's our daily existence. All we do is evolve and pivot and ask customers. So I think startups are in some ways a little bit better shape, but sometimes startups don't have the financial capacity to weather a storm. So we're going to be very nimble as much as we can, and I think ride this little bit of a tumultuous set of waves.
I appreciate the vision, though, of resiliency being part of that sustainability, and this future that you're painting is coming together. What's a good a first step for someone to take, and where can they go to learn more?
Yeah, just ecomedes.com. It's a free website. We have bracketed all of our products in kind of buckets that are natural. We're trying to work within the confines of the green data, which is very wonky and very kind of data-driven stuff, made not a lot for like consumers. And I think, I always think consumer first, not that we're a consumer-focused product, but like we have all the appliances you could buy. So if you're out, stocking up your fridge, and you're like, well, maybe it's time to go out and shop and get a deep freezer or another refrigerator for your garage. I don't encourage people to have a larger energy footprint, but if you are going to do it, you can go to our site, click appliances, find the brand that you like, search by capacity, and go, I want to sort these by annual energy use, and you'll find the best ones.
Be sure to check out part 2 of our conversation with Paul, in which he tells us about the challenges he's faced determining what data will be most useful to buyers, and how he benefits from observing technology deployment from other industries.